Chapter 51, in which Princess Kitty is welcomed to Kadono. The Peugeot arrived at the fairground at 7:48, meaning she had a matter of hours before the ceremony starts. Getting out and seeing the Peugeot drive off, one could easily feel the isolation around her. Looking forward, the entire fairground seemed to have been completely renovated since the bicentennial. Disassembled were the Ferris wheel, the racetrack, and other games. Only the large rows of chairs and the platform remained. On the platform, there was a long banner above, reading, First Appreciation Day of Princess Kitty, 1935. Underneath is a tall pink and silver throne that is meant for her. Next to it, on a pedestal, there sat a gold crown with a purple felt cap and colorful gems. Gems of ruby and emerald and amethyst. On the brim read the word Kadono. Aware that she's the first to arrive, she thought it would be best if she can wait behind the platform until more people begin to show up, as well as the reporters, journalists, and her grown-up friends. From here, she stared out into the city, especially the clock tower at Market Square. It will take 9 months before the debris from the Providence were removed and the residents to return home. She also thought about the history she had read in the library, and what the thoughts of precision and order meant for the people. However, by the time she is welcomed, those two thoughts will no longer exist anymore. Calmly accepting her fate, she softly cried out a song to Kadono, her voice loud and clear enough, although no person is able to hear it. Dear Kadono, forgive me as I fulfill my destiny. Those two known thoughts will cease to be by unknown forces that I have set free. They all know that I am the one. Their existence can't be undone. The time has come to reach the end. Your will never be the same again. When the people finally came to the fairground, including the Pratchett's, one could easily feel the tension in the air. She wasn't surprised by these turn of events. She had thought this would be a simple ceremony on the first Appreciation Day. But to the Cat Queen and the other yokai, it is the beginning of the end. She was actually surprised to see people holding up signs that read, Welcome Princess Kitty, and Kadono welcomes you. Then, Mayor Donovan arrived at the back of the platform to finally meet her in person. Kitty, he said, listen, I know that I deserve what I got because of what I had done to you a month ago. But I know better now. You deserve to exist. Forgive me. However, she stared at him with apathy. She can feel her voice saying to him from her mouth, We'll see. Well, it's time, he said, looking at his watch. Shall we get this over with? She nodded her head in agreement. There was a loud applause when he came up to the platform and speaking into the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, he said. From behind the platform, Princess Kitty can hear the band playing the country's national anthem, called Du Gamla Du Fria. In their language, it means, Thou ancient, thou free." She can even hear the people singing along to it. However, her attention suddenly turns to the twin black cats with their golden eyes intently on her, just sitting in front of her and full of gloat. She knew who they are, and she knew who they belonged to.
"This will be a day long remembered for the Queen and the yokai,"
she said to them.
"I can promise you that. So get ready."
When the anthem is over and the people sat back in their seats, Mayor Darwin announced on the microphone, "Before we could begin, I would like to say a lot of things. I've been the mayor of your city since 1931, the moment I swore to office, carrying on the legacy that Ezra Kadono has left 200 years ago. For 4 years, I helped improve the lifestyle of Kadono with better education, better work, and better taxes. I thought this year would be uneventful and considered a glorious finish to my term as mayor. But then one day, in one instant, everything had changed. Obviously, I'm talking about Princess Kitty of KAWAII Wonderland, who shall be joining us in a moment. When I first heard of her, from several of my citizens, my best bet is to ignore, seeing her as much as a minor nuisance. I've advised them to ignore it and continue with their day and night. But in the following weeks, more things started happening, and they have something to do with that girl. And after the cat parade, the people expect me to do something about it, as well as my council. The top priority is the bicentennial, just as long as she doesn't affect it. When an incident at Morimo Harbor brought to my attention, this is where I draw the line. I will not allow any more nonsense to exist here, even going far as blacklisting such articles and address the entire city. The purpose of my broadcast is to drive her away and never come back, hoping that the bicentennial will be uneventful. But a few days later, disaster had happened. And it's because of me. The disaster occurred because I didn't listen, because I didn't believe. The outside forces made sure that I've paid the price for it for over a month. Right here, I know better now. I have been reformed. I now see why she's important to all of us. I'd like to thank you all for coming. We're all assembled here today with love and respect. We honor and welcome Princess Kitty of KAWAII Wonderland on our first annual Appreciation Day. There was a more louder applause when she came up onto the platform, shaking the mayor's hand. Sid Farrell, who happens to be on the platform as well, takes a picture. He said to himself, while returning to his seat, "This is going straight to the headlines." "How are you feeling today?" Mayor Darwin asked.
"Couldn't be better,"
She nodded.
"Admittedly, a little nervous, but nonetheless confident."
He addresses the crowd. "Please allow her to settle in and ease her anxiety for a bit." A newsreel cameraman steps forward and aimed his film at her as she clears her throat and speaks into the microphone.
"I want to be honest with all of you. This is all too humbling even for me. I am not of this earth. I am not one of you. I am a princess from the magical kingdom of KAWAII Wonderland, where I was born and originated. For 2 months now, I have lived among you as a visitor. According to my friend, Cameron Christian Copley, at around noon I arrived here from my kingdom on the 12th of May. at a time when you really don't believe in other things, when you have thoughts of precision and order. Even other things must be believed. And you just don't know where to look. Just don't even know when to listen. A couple of days after I arrived, I met the Pratchett's, who made me feel right at home, teaching me some of the things that I wasn't even familiar with. During my 3-week expedition after our adventure in Bavaria, I've met very important people everywhere I go. I even met the Maybell crew, Professor K. Boom and his assistants, and more importantly, Mr. Copley, who has resigned from his job at the Kadono Times, probably because of me. You see, when I first began my expedition, you were all concerned at first, since I first set foot here. Not only was my decision to come here, it was my family's. They wanted to make me happy from the very beginning. They knew it was my destiny to come. So, during my expedition, I began doing great things to the city for about a week. And what you've done is that you question your own reality, knowing that these things can't be real, nor can it be explained. Even your mayor is skeptical at first, possibly after the Capoeira stage under the name KAWAII. For the things I've done, you people brush them off like it was nothing. You are all entitled to believe in what is real and nothing else. I worked twice as hard to impress you all, but even that won't be enough. To a grown-up, I'm not real. I do not even exist. According to what your mayor had said on the broadcast I've heard, if unusual things aren't real and doesn't exist, they are not welcomed here, including me. Even I believed it. It drove me to be better off unseen and unheard. But I cannot do it for long when I hear of a terrible catastrophe involving the Zeppelin, and I have to do something about it and be known to the entire city. So for everything you were concerned about, I forgive you all. I have seen the beauty of your many cultures. I have felt great joy in your magnificent accomplishments. As of today, July 29th, no longer will I consider myself a visitor. Because the earth is my home too, I will not let anyone take it away from me. I deserve to be welcomed by you. It is my destiny.
Then there came a long applause as Mayor Donovan brings forth a huge gold key. Etched onto it were the words, City of Kadono, founded 1735. You've made a difference in the lives of so many people in the months that we've known you, which is why I present to you both this key to the city and this royal ceremonial crown, as well as a lavish throne all to yourself, symbolizing your esteem and affection. He presents both the key, the crown, and the throne to her. With you, the city is far from being an ordinary place. We never wanted anything but to make you a part of our society. Kadono welcomes you, Princess Kitty. She smiled at the gifts he's presenting her.
What brilliant gifts you're giving me. I just wish you could all see Kadono the way I see it. There's no denying that I will feel right at home, as if I'm part of something that's bigger than all of you. No matter how old you are, whether a child becomes a grown-up, like my friends. You all know it's hard to grow out of childhood. Maybe life in Kadono can be a whole lot better with me in it.
However, her smile disappears. She almost forgot about the yokai who often support her into having her presence known in the first place. Her ears perk up as she faintly heard the words, Sighing, she continued,
But I can't. I can't accept the key to the city, the crown, and the throne.
That shocked the entire crowd, even the mayor and the Pratchett's. Sure enough, Grandpa Jack and the grandchildren rush up to the platform and run towards her. "Kitty!" Todd cried. "Why would you do something like that? I thought this is what you wanted." Grandpa Jack nodded. "What gave you the audacity to give up what the city's giving you?" Princess Kitty began.
Pratchett's,
"No, Kitty," Grandpa Jack interrupted. "Just listen. You have overcome tremendous obstacles and end up winning over the people of Kadono for about too much, especially after you saved the grandchildren. I don't understand why you refuse these gifts after everything you have done." Mayor Darwin steps in. "Look, Kitty, if you don't want them, it's fine. I'll just bring them to the Pratchett's, how's that? Therefore, if you change your mind..." Princess Kitty cuts him off.
I won't. They won't let me. You do not understand why I had to fulfill my destiny, do you? Donovan, they heard what you said to me. They're coming.
"What?" Mayor Donovan gasped. Then, there was a scream of shock from the crowd, along with a loud, deafening roar. They turned to see the huge cat bus pace to the side of the platform, followed by the Tanuki gang. Mayor Donovan's eyes widened as the crowd became unnerved at this unexpected arrival, just a throng of inhuman faces staring directly towards humanity. Inside the cat bus, the glaring presence of the Cat Queen, as well as her partner, her cats, Ryutaro, his mistress, and some of the Tanuki. "They look upon me in fear," the Cat Queen thought. "Let them fear me and despair, for it is our time." "I now understand why, Kitty," Grandpa Jack realized. "It's always her."
Yes,
Princess Kay said.
but she isn't listening alone.
Already, the Cat Queen, the engineer, Ryutaro and his mistress, and some of the Tanuki arrive at the platform. "Indeed she isn't, Kitty," Ryutaro said. "We heard it too."
Of course you have.
Princess Kay said.
You all have. If you all know, she knows. Even I don't think this story will end happily for anyone.
"You don't have to say anything more," Gonta said. "We got here just in time, and not a second too soon." "Byron up during the ceremony, no doubt," the engineer groaned. "Who cares?" purred the Cat Queen. "We've been waiting for this day for far too long, and it's more riveting than we've ever imagined." "What are you all doing here?" Mayor Donovan demanded. "You think she's the only one who's the guest of honor?" purred the Cat Queen. "There's something you had for me." 3 things. He shook his head. "I think you're wrong. I got nothing to give you." Princess Kitty steps in.
Yes, you have.
"What are you talking about?" he asked.
I asked for no riches or money, especially the gifts you gave me. I don't deserve anything.
She looked at the yokai.
If anybody who does is not only the supernatural creature who supported me since the day I set 1 foot here.
She turned to the Cat Queen, whispering.
It's you. Next to my father, you were the one who convinced me to make my presence known the most. You did everything for me. All except the accident with the dirigible. The unknown had done it for me, blaming nothing but the city's incredulity towards you and your kind. Of course you didn't save those children up on that dirigible. You wanted me to save them!
Then you know exactly what's going to happen next. Now that Kadono welcomes you finally, don't you? Purred the Cat Queen.
I do,
Princess Kay said.
I never told them anything about what is to come after I saved Ta and Audrey. Not even my other friends or anyone else. I don't want anyone to be scared.
Mayor Donovan stepped in. Kitty, what is it that made you want to tell us after you saved your friends? She said this in front of his face.
I made an agreement with the rest of the yokai. The moment the city welcomes me, I will let them take over. Those 5 words you said to me, that was it. I pronounced the obituary of normal life in this city, because it no longer exists now.
What she had said brought shocked gasps from the crowd, including Mayor Donovan. The Catgo princess on the platform had slapped each and every one of them in the face with a harsh, bitter statement. The Cat Queen chuckles richly. Indeed, it has. Mayor Donovan was stunned. Kitty, you honestly give your gifts to the hands of these monsters, including this entire city, he demanded. And just like that, a switch goes off in Princess Kitty's head. Her demeanor instantly changed, making her like she was one of them.
I will not be guilty of what I've done, Donovan,
she said.
I was the one who brought them here in the first place. I was the one who summoned her along with her cat best and a wanted partner. And if I bring her here, so do other creatures like her. More importantly, I caused the dirigible accident that happened on June 9th. It was all me!
And how did you manage to do that? Mayor Donovan asked.
I didn't go to the fairground. I wasn't there when it happened. Bad things happened to the bicentennial because of me. My friends and the crew are almost hurt or killed because of me. Already, I have accepted the consequences of my actions. It's as if I wanted it to happen!
Kitty, you can't be serious.
It is far too late to take back my welcoming now. The turning point for your city has already passed. The takeover begins now. The end has finally come!
No! Mayor Donovan shouted in disbelief. I refuse to believe it! But the Cat Queen is already walking towards him. Then I got one thing to say to you, Donovan, she said. Boom! Then the key was violently ripped out of his hands. He watched as he raised the key up with both hands. With this fulfillment, precision and order exists no more. You are all right about one thing. It is the start of a new and better Kadono. The start of a new era. And it begins with us. Among the city council, who were seated near the left edge of the platform, Satoru Takahata rose from his seat and picks up the ceremonial crown. He knelt before the Cat Queen and presents the crown to her. What is this? She demanded. Shineko, he said. It is yours. This crown is yours. Take it as a gift for my reverence to you. From her seat, Yasuko covers her mouth as she gasped, before tears begin forming. Is that where he's gone off to? Takahata Satoru, purred the Cat Queen. It really has been a while since we last seen each other, since you're no longer a puppet to me for my figurine. You're like everybody else again. You even have your position back. Isn't this what you wanted? It meant nothing to me, Takahata said. Life didn't turn out well for me since I left. I can't even have the audacity to spend time with my wife and my little maid-chan. I had to drive them away, distance myself, just so I can be left alone, thinking only of you. The Cat Queen can see a single tear in his eye as he went on, whispering, Please, take it. Take the crown, and let me be loyal to you every day for the rest of my life. Her eyes revealed no emotion, or love, or care, just slow, unyielding malignity. She hands the key to Ryotaro, saying, Watashi no yumi do aro omote iru hito ga iru no shimasu. Ryutaro nodded, saying, Hai, Kaku-sama. Kanojo wa sorera o kimono no naka ni kakushite hokan shite iru. She nodded. Kanojo ni watashi no tokoro ni mote kite moimasu. Mo ippo no tanaki ni gendo tate nipuso shite yuenji no furun sa shimasu. Koea no hitopito na toe sugi o to shita bai wa tanaki ni zanina jakara o sukate hitopito oikasa sete kudasai. Watashi ga zen jiroi ni dashite dorehoto deketai dekediru ga omina ni mite moetai. She turned and takes the crown from Takahata. Walking to the platform, in front of the startled crowd, she raised the crown up with both hands and placed it on her head. She can feel herself grin wider as the words on the brim change as if on demand. In a foreign language it now read, the Cat Queen of the Underground, the great mother of disorder and consternation of the earth.
Now you truly look like a queen, Shineko,
he stated.
Should you be impressed, then you shall accept my loyalty to you. I do have feelings for you. More than...
She turned to him, saying, Takahata Satoru, the queen has accepted your gift of reverence. What I don't understand is that after you're no longer under my influence, you want to stay loyal to me? Is that what you really want, instead of being a council person again? Now, where did I hear that story before? Let me think. Oh, now I remember. It was during the Edo period, 318 years before you were even born. A beautiful woman longed to marry the man he loved, but he loved another. When she comes see me out of jealousy, she want me to kill the other woman, so she can have him all to herself. Can you believe that, Mr. Takahata? Of course, I wouldn't do that. Instead, I made her stay loyal to me forever, after I give her my gift. So, she killed the other woman in front of the man, and he could have sworn she can kill him too. Now, are you sure you wish to cross that path like the woman did? When she saw him being hesitant with his words, she snarled,
Have you nothing to say?
I will take my chances, Shineko.
He pleaded.
I love you. I never wanted anything in Kadono but you. Not even my family.
Everyone in the underground is loyal to me. Did you know that? But a human like you? I should surely remedy that. I can promise you. The Cat Queen can feel the soft taps on her shoulder. She turned to find Mistress Kakyu, carrying a short bamboo asymmetrical bow with an arrow. Ippo sakate gare no kokoro ni nirai o sadamete kudasai, Mistress Kakyu said. Then she gives them to the Cat Queen. Sauntering a meter back, she attached the back of the arrow to the bowstring and aimed the front at Takahata's heart. His relief instantly turned into fear and concern.
What are you doing?
She pulls the bowstring back to her face. I have accepted the gift you've given me. So in return for wanting to stay loyal, I give you mine. When she lets go of the bowstring, the arrow is fired and took a direct hit to Takahata's heart. It's as if it happened in half a second. At the same instant, the crowd that was seated, especially Yasuko and Mei, gasped in shock at what they saw on the platform. Takahata still had his eyes at the Cat Queen, now with a fearful, helpless expression. Looking down was the arrow, stuck to where his heart was. Desperate, he grasped it, and with a pained scream, pulled it out from his body. and lets it fall onto the floor with a clatter. Little May got up from her seat and started to cry.
My daddy!
She screamed. The Cat Queen immediately turned to the little girl. Your father can't be with you anymore. He's already dead. Hot tears streamed from Yasuko's cheeks.
You heartless demon!
She screamed in a mix of grief and rage. She ran towards the Cat Queen, but Daichi, Takashi, and Miyu subdued her.
How could you?
How could I? The Cat Queen snarled. You heard what he said. Now he stays loyal. Takahata feebly took a step towards the Cat Queen, getting weaker by the moment. You. Then he spoke no more. He collapsed onto the floor, propping himself on his hands and knees, agonizing pain coursing through his body in one wave after another. Princess Kitty, Grandpa Jack and his grandchildren, Mayor Donovan and the other council members, as well as the crowd in their seats, can only watch as Takahata began convulsing in a startling rate. Only Mayor Donovan noticed what is happening. Takahata can feel his body growing, swelling, and thicken with muscle, his bones cracking, shifting, and rearranging, his formal suit tearing due to the pressure. His body gave a shudder before black feathers began to burst through his skin and his clothes. His hair came falling out of his head, which was replaced by plumage. His fingers stretched and sharpened into claws. His shoes burst as his feet became black and scaly, tipped with 4 gleaming talons. His teeth sharpened into huge fangs as his gums bleed out. Grandpa Jack noticed a bulge on Takahata's back, which grew and grew until they burst from what's left of his suit. A pair of black wings flapped freely from behind. The crowd that remained in their seats were completely paralyzed, too paralyzed to scream or run. Soon enough, the transformation is complete, as Takahata stood towering at a height of 14 feet above Mayor Donovan and the others, on all fours, draped in black plumage, breathing in low growls. His bestial body was a gargantuan mass of raw strength, his rib cage a massive misshapen tank of muscle, ready to supply power to his 4 legs that each ended in talons that could tear helpless prey piece by piece in a matter of moments. Large, powerful wings sat folded on his back with soft, saw-toothed edges. His ears entirely shrunken into existence, and underneath layers of plumage. He glared at Mayor Donovan with his contorted face, his eyes completely black and void of emotion, the dark circles around them. At the same moment, Mayor Donovan can hear the Cat Queen singing from behind what was once Satoru Takahata. Loyal. You will forever be loyal. You will forever be loyal. However, Mayor Donovan's attention turns to find Daichi, Takashi, and Miyu dragging Yasuko to the platform, her eyes closed from the tears. Daichi cackled. Come take a look at your husband now, baby! They push her forward. That's when she opened her eyes and froze at the sight of a monster facing the mayor. Upon realizing that the beast was her husband, then she opened her mouth to scream in wretched terror. It's loud enough to turn Takahata's attention towards her. Then, in response, he lets out a loud, ear-splitting, inhuman shriek at her face. He seemed to no longer recognize her, nor his little daughter still among the crowd. They were now helpless prey to him. He charged at Yasuko and hurls her off the platform and onto the crowd. At the same moment, chaos ensued. People began screaming and leaving from their seats, running desperately to leave the fairground. Unfortunately, the Tanuki, armed with their katanas and their tate shields, were waiting for them, just as the Cat Queen has ordered. Most of the Tanuki was saddled on the decomposing cadavers of horses that were reanimated. The Tanuki refused to let the citizens leave, and they were beaten back and forced them back to their seats. That, of course, shocked Mayor Donovan into an outrage, much to the contentment of the Cat Queen.
Kitty!
He screamed, glaring towards Princess Kitty, who remained stoic. But before he could walk towards her out of worry, he was slammed to the floor by this bird monster, shrieking at his face. "Karasuju!" the Cat Queen exclaimed. "Donovan must see what I and the other yokai had conceived for the entirety of Kadono. Let him live for now." The bird monster let out a warning snarl towards Mayor Donovan before pacing towards the Cat Queen, as she sauntered to the throne and sat on it. Immediately, the silver rusted and turned black, as the pink bleeds into red. The bird monster sat beside it, as she strokes his head like some kind of pet. There was a brief scuffle, as Gonta snatches Sid's camera away from him and rushed to the platform. He stood in front of her, then snaps her picture. "This one's for all the headlines," he smirked. Mayor Donovan got up to his feet, shaken at this monster Takahata had become. A crow beast.
I knew it!
Mayor Donovan shouted in fear.
From the moment I saw your face in the boardroom, you're going to have me killed! The same way my wife was killed!
Taking off the noose from around his neck, Daichi stormed towards Mayor Donovan and slugs him across the face with it, knocking him to the floor, while the crowd cried out. Then Daichi mounted on top of him from behind and wrapped the noose around Mayor Donovan's neck. "Do you want to know how I got this noose?" Daichi said. "Let's say I got a kick at shedding blood against authority. I've chosen to be hanged instead of decapitated. I wouldn't want my head to be detached very often. Upon death, I had two options: live as a yokai for eternity, or stay in a void where it's cold, dark, and silent. Now, if you don't want this noose around your neck, you don't ever talk disrespectfully towards our queen again." He quickly removed the noose from Mayor Donovan's neck and gets up. As soon as Mayor Donovan is on his knees, Takashi said bitterly, "If the queen wants you dead, there's only a 0.5% chance that you'll live. If Kitty wants you dead, there's only less than 5. "Kitty," the Cat Queen calls out. "The queen requests you to come forward." Stoic, Princess Kitty approached the throne and calmly fell to her knees. "Well," purred the Cat Queen, "impressed?" Princess Kitty nodded. To her, it is the beginning. Already, she sensed that the universe has been focusing on this moment. "Quite a price to pay for keeping your promise to us," the Cat Queen said. "Kitty!" Grandpa Jack calls out, barely breathing. "Tell me now, Kitty. Who do you think you are, just standing there, and doing nothing to help that man, while he's turning into some kind of horrible monster?" There she finally found her voice. She turned and answered him softly.
The one.
Silence held between her and the rest of the platform. She is already aware of Mayor Donovan's fear. "I don't understand," he cried, rising to his feet. "This is supposed to be the first appreciation day for you, Kitty. The entire city planned all this for you, even though I leave Mr. Sights in charge of everything. I've tried so hard. I really did. And this is how you thank us? By throwing away what we gave you? By letting this happen to Mr. Takahata?" He pointed at the crow beast, who was snarling at him. "You heard what Kitty said," purred the Cat Queen. "This story will not end happily for anyone. Not even you. Just by your fear alone."
I did what you told me to do,
Mayor Donovan snapped.
I thought...
"Oh, you did thought, didn't you?" purred the Cat Queen. "I swear, I'd kill myself laughing just by hearing that out loud. Do you really think you know how this story should end? Princess Kitty is welcomed. We go away never to come back, and live happily ever after. Well, who said that the story should end that way?
The answer is no one.
Donovan, it won't be the last Appreciation Day.
Princess K said.
It will be celebrated again every 29th of July for the rest of their lives. If it's right with you, the city doesn't belong to me, but I can still wander your streets until I have a home. The only way for you to survive is to be aware that things will never be the same again. They know as much as the Queen does. Do you know the most terrifying thing in this story? Terrifying than both the yokai and the Cat Queen, especially Karasuju. There does exist another word for destiny. It's called fate. Not only did I seal the fate of Kadono, forgiving as you are now, I have sealed yours.
Mayor Donovan asked, "How could you do this to all of us?"
I happened to make a deal with the devil,
Princess K said. "Kitty, you already have a home," Todd said. "You live with us in the neighborhood, remember?"
I know that.
Princess K said.
What I'm talking about is a home outside the city. But that doesn't mean I won't leave you again.
The Cat Queen stepped in. "And we'll make sure that you don't." Then the cat bus got out of the way, letting a crane park next to the platform. It had a huge 19-foot crate hanging onto it, with a heart drawn on it and a crown on top. Inside the heart were the letters PK. Mayor Donovan was shocked when he discovers that the crane was driven by 2 black cats, who were 4 feet in height. Once the crate was placed onto the platform, Haruka and Minago turned back to normal black cats before running up to their mother. The Cat Queen said, "See to it that you place this on top of your clock tower." Mayor Donovan shook his head. "You know I can't do that." "Why?" Grandpa Jack asked. "What's inside?" "Allow the Tanuki to answer that question," purred the Cat Queen. Soon enough, 4 Tanuki opened the crate, revealing the 19-foot bronze statue of Princess Kitty. "Behold, I say!" Gonta shouted. "She is the one!" Princess Kitty was stunned when she saw the statue. "Between us and them, there may be a lot of getting used to see yokai without their disguises," purred the Cat Queen, rising from her throne. "We want to make a first impression, can't we?"
After everything you've done for me, I know they will,
Princess K said softly.
I saw what happened to Gif. Kadono now belongs to the Yokai Queen. Do what you want with it, as long as people learn to get along with your kind. I kept my word. Now your destiny is complete. Proclaim their existence onto the streets, unto all the inhabitants thereof.
Then she turned and spoke onto the microphone.
Since there's nothing else happening here now, it's my time to go. Owakare.
Todd stepped in. "We're coming with you, Kitty. Wherever you go." She turned to the Pratchett's.
If you wish to come with me, I want you to wait in the car. The Tanuki will take the rest of the family back home. I would like a moment with Donovan before I go.
Grandpa Jack shook his head. "I don't think it's necessary, Kitty. It's best if you let him be."
Jack, please!
"He's right," Todd said. "Can't you see that he's been through enough?" "Your Highness, the Pratchetts are not leaving at your request," purred the Cat Queen. "Shall I take care of them for you?" At the end of her tether, Princess K screamed.
Don't wait in the car! No!
Grandpa Jack stepped back in shock, but tells the grandchildren, "You heard her. Let's go." As they head down the platform, Princess Kitty was left with Mayor Donovan. "Oh, Kitty," he said.
Don't!
She said.
I know what you're going to say to me, as do the yokai. I want to forgive you for once driving me away, have the city turn against me, but doing so will only arouse their hostility, especially the queen's. I know, because I've caused all this. There will be another appreciation day for Kadono, but you won't be here. Even I will protect you from them, especially the fate that awaits you.
She turned to leave, but Mayor Donovan goes after her, calling out, "Kitty! I don't think—" In a flash, Princess Kitty calls out to Haruka and Minako.
Stop him!
He can feel both his arms being grasped by the two monstrous cats. She calmly turned and faced him.
I mean what I say, Donovan. If only the yokai would allow me to have sympathy for you. They come here not only to make an example out of you, but to send a clear message that mankind, innocent or otherwise, will abide by that proverb. Which means they'll have to coexist with the yokai, whether they go shopping, go to work, exercise, or making passionate love in a private hotel room for two.
If they don't, he asked, if they don't coexist,
then consider mankind subordinate, whether you like it or not. And if they even fear the yokai like before, they might as well fear me too. I am the one.
Kitty.
No, Donovan. I have nothing else to say. To the yokai, I know what must be done.
She turned to the Cat Queen and orders.
He's all yours. Continue his torment. See that his fate is sealed.
A sort of tremor, a fear he had expected, passed through Mayor Donovan as soon as he heard Princess Kitty.
No!
He cried out in a high cracked tone.
Kitty!
With pleasure, purred the Cat Queen bitterly, as Princess Kitty heads down the platform without turning back, while Mayor Donovan struggles.
No, no!
He called out to her.
Kitty, please! Please, Kitty, don't do this! Kitty! Kitty, please don't let them do this, Kitty! Don't leave me, please! Kitty! Kitty!
Oh, darling, purred the Cat Queen. It's as if she's actually one of us. Even Kitty, the girl you once drove away, is against you, Donovan. Consider this city the starting point of our takeover.
Take it, then,
he protested.
Take the entire city. Take everything. Just leave me alone. You already got the key, the crown, and the throne. I got nothing else for you. Nothing. What? Do you want to be mayor of Kadono? Is that it? Is that what you really want? Do you even want me to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge and drown myself?
Then your citizens will consider me an unmerciful tyrant. If I'm elected mayor, a dictator. Make them fear me and despair, she said. Also, suicide would be obvious. Too obvious. Even that won't be enough to stop your suffering entirely. She made him look at both the Tanuki and Ryutaro, who was among them. Obviously, you have no idea who we really are. You see, we're not just monsters, as you have called us. Today, with our destiny fulfilled, we are now considered an infection.
Infection?
He was shocked, almost speechless.
Like what you did to Mr. Takahata.
Mr. Takahata is dead, Donovan, she said. Or maybe you're just too stupid to remember that. He wanted to stay loyal to me, and this is what he got in return. My gift. Mayor Donovan points at the crow beast.
You consider that a gift?
He demanded. Karasuju is loyal to me, as do all the yokai, she snarled. I will have him attack without end with a word, or even a tiny gesture. Gonta spoke up. And it is the word of the queen that shall bring forth unfathomable torment hundredfold. to those who dare oppose her. Abided by the proverb, Mistress Kaku said. Donovan, what we have done to Kadono is an infection that can never be contained or stopped, the Cat Queen said. It will first start slow from here, but having mankind fearing us and not getting along or dare oppose us will only invoke the spread to quicken, spreading far and wide. The Princess Kitty's existence is the cause of it all, the source. Until one dares to oppose us, no matter which sex or religion or age, it will take a long time before everybody knows.
So right now, you're telling me that taking over Kadono is not enough anymore?
Mayor Donovan sneered.
You're going to let loose these creatures outside our city limits? To Koriko, to Halmstad, to even Visby. You're never going to stop until
we infect the world, until there's nothing left. She finished. She can already see the anguish of his face, and now he seemed an ordinary man, crushed and defeated. She went on. For now, Kadono shall endure the existence and influences of us, as long and slow as where we come from can contrive, and shall never be resisted or ignored. The time has now come to address our terms. She whipped her head towards Ryotaro, ordering, "Throw a scare into those who can hear." Ryotaro stepped forward and eyed the mayor. "These are our terms, Donovan. All citizens of Kadono shall treat us, the yokai, as equals, regardless of our hostility, including government officials and authorities, under the omnipresence of our queen. Dire consequences will be given to those who disrespect us, even at the slightest objection. For the Tanuki, all public parks shall be converted into temples and shrines, reminiscent of the Shinto shrines from the Eastern land. People with other religious beliefs, far different than our own, shall keep their places of worship, such as churches and synagogues, just so long as they pay homage to us. As tribute to what the Princess Kitty had done, the clock tower on Market Square shall be known as the Princess Kitty Tower, with a statue on top of the steeple. The clockmaker who maintains the tower, until death or retirement, leaving a vacancy for a replacement, shall keep his occupation like the other caretakers before him. As for you, Donovan, there won't be a re-election for you, given that even Kitty is against you. Therefore, your fate for wanting her gone before the celebration shall be in our hands." "So this is what shall become of this city now," Mayor Donovan said. "This is what awaits us all. And it is Kitty who will let it happen," Ryotaro said, glaring. "I have named the terms." "How can you even think I might accept something like your so-called terms?" The Cat Queen cackles madly and said, "Your personal objections no longer interest us, Donovan. Therefore, they mean nothing to us. We shall always keep a deaf ear on what you had to say. These are our terms. You take them, or you don't. Kadono is ours either way." Mayor Donovan can hear the quiet snarl of the crow beast. "Even if I take them, even if I leave this place and live in exile forever, no one in Kadono would ever agree to them. Can't you see that?" he demanded. The Cat Queen snarled. "Then we will make them. It is that simple if you don't want the infection to spread too quickly."
"No!"
he shouted.
"You can't do that!"
"You just watch me," she said. "If I recall, You once addressed the entire city days before what should have been a celebration. Let's see if I can do better.
I will not allow it.
Then I don't think you want to hear what I have to say to you, she said darkly. Then she turns to find Daichi rushing up the platform, carrying the filmo taken from the newsreel cameraman. He informed, "Expect to see and admire yourself in the flickers, Queenie. Better than Harlow." As soon as he starts filming, she proudly walked over and grasped the microphone. A loud whine emits from it. Then she begins speaking. For those who wish to know what has happened, Princess Kitty, the cat girl who is welcomed here, has surrendered her key to the city to the yokai, monsters and demons originating from Japanese folklore, as well as her ceremonial crown and her throne to me. I suppose that means that I now truly look like a queen in means of appearance. What you are hearing now is being broadcast throughout the entirety of Kadono. The thoughts of precision and order has ended, and there can be no further advancement. The turning point has passed. The moment the princess is welcomed. For 200 years, your city has demonstrated its purpose in remaining an ordinary city, in knowing what is real without questioning the natural order of things, by brushing unusual things off like it never happened, like the girl's existence. It's insulting to us, the unusual, and the unknown. You all have no idea how a 200-year-old glorification of precision and order can lead to such a downfall on the 9th of June. The city that once depends on precision and order belongs to us now. For those who have heard of us, you know what we're capable of when it comes to the unknown. Humans and yokai, as of this date, the 29th of July, shall be forced to coexist. Should you not be a part of it, consider yourself subordinate to us. It could be anyone you know, because they happen to blend in with their human disguises like masks. Artists, teachers, police officers, firemen, doctors, fishermen, merchants, your friends, anyone you can trust, all waiting to take them off. For the yokai who still makes a living here, I was among you, under the human disguise of expert Charlotte Lenoir. To any skeptic around me, I will not hesitate to show them my lack of human sympathy. My mask is already off. Just think what it would be like if you all take off yours without hesitation. You have my permission to do so. Show anyone what you really are, what you really look like. And if they're scared, they should be. They were unaware of what shall await them, unaware of what's to come. And those who still antagonize us, you have my permission to track them all down and have them suffer the consequences. Rest assured that the city now has a future with us, for we've entered a new era that will last for the rest of their lives. The takeover has just begun, and we thank you, Princess Kitty, if you were listening. Long may you... Then, with a loud shock as sparks fly, she tears off the microphone from the stand before dropping it. She glared at Mayor Donovan, saying, "And so begins the beautiful infection." "Queen, there's someone coming this way," Gonta said. "Just ahead." She could see a brilliant enclosed limousine pushing through the crowd, leaving a wake. On the side of the brilliant, a coat of arms with cats on it. The word above the crest read, Chaton. "Well, look what Chaton dragged in," she said. The livery driver Button Eyes scurries to open the door for the Grand Duke of Chaton. However, the Duke happens to wear something different. His coat was gray, unbuttoned at the front, loose sleeve with silken cuffs at the wrist. Over it he wore a tight brown waistcoat underneath his white shirt. He was shod in black boots over gray tights, and on his hands were white gloves, with his claws protruding out of them. In one of them he held the jeweled knob of a black cane. He donned a gray cap with a white star reading Neko in gold letters, and a red tie. There were silver bells all over his suit. They jingled with every step he made. He looked up at the Cat Queen and smirked, bowing. "Do forgive me by these sudden turn of events." "Who said I would, Duke?" she said. He went up the platform and approached her. "It would be nice if you let me take control of your bus." She narrowed her eyes at him. "Oh, you don't say. What gave you that suggestion?" "It would be nice if I could become a cat bus conductor. You know, under new management." The Cat Queen chuckles richly. "That's exactly what I had in mind. But you really have a lot to learn, darling. I'd be happy to teach you the ropes. And I can't help but wonder what shall become of you when you give your cat bus to me. Whether Donovan likes it or not, his entire city shall be under the omnipresence of me, as well as the rest of the yokai. But it shall be my Kadono." "Sounds brilliant," he said. "Maybe you can throw in a scare or two for good measure, if anybody opposed you. And you shall have no pity." "Donovan's fate is already in our hands," purred the Cat Queen. "Whether he must live in exile or die, it's for us to decide what's to become of him." "Most beautifully, my velvet kitten," the Duke said, then took her by the hand. "How about we stop by your place and chat about ourselves for a bit?" "I was hoping you'd ask, darling." She leads him towards the cat bus, followed by the engineer and her cats. The Duke went on. "I think me and the cat bus are going to be real friends very quickly." "Makes perfect sense to me," she said. "I always wanted to pair with another Abyssinian, who's really willing to make himself acquainted. I'd be happy to give my bus to someone new." "Here's to the future."
"I can tell he's going to be a lot better than you, boss,"
the engineer said. Ryutaro calls out to her.
"You go forth to Reynard Manor, Queen. We'll take the long way home, so we can make sure people know who runs the city now. God help the people if they dare oppose us."
Rage overcame Mayor Donovan and stepped forward. Before he is about to say something, Ryutaro beat him first.
"Well, you don't have to worry about your reward from Kitty. That was it, and it's bound to take over everything around you. Owakare, and may God help you if you are in the way."
Ryutaro then lead his mistress down the platform and out of the fairground, followed by the Tanuki group, ringing out, "Long may she reign, the Princess Kitty!" As they loudly sing a foreign hymn, Mayor Donovan can feel the anger being overcome by the entirety of the unknown, making him fall to his knees and shook his head, his eyes cast downward. To him, welcoming Princess Kitty to Kadono and allowing the yokai to take over is the equivalent of opening Pandora's box. It occurred to him that in the 5 months that follow, at every corner, his citizens, especially the firemen and the police, would see the yokai roaming the streets, spreading foot disorder like a cancer. Regarding his death, He knew that in Kadono there would be no eulogies for him, no gravestone for him, no biographies written about him, no children named after him, unless they want to die in the hands of the unknown. It will be like he never existed, in an ironic twist of fate. When he dies, he will only be remembered as the mayor who wanted Princess Kitty gone before the bicentennial celebration. As he remained on his knees, he will fail to notice that Karasuju was still on the platform and behind him. In a moment, the mayor will be slammed to the floor, and Karasuju will be on top of him, his claws already out. Mayor Donovan, if he survives, would only scream and beg for mercy, before he could realize too late that they are both considered futile. The yokai already knew it, as do their queen. As for those poor souls who remain in the fairground, from their seats, they would only watch and hear the most horrendous screams ever to come from a human throat.